Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Delta.app One Hub Racing here for round number 5 of the championship as we take in the Hungary here for P2. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, who will be taking you through the action as always on a Sunday here for P2. But joining me in the commentary box, we've got him on double duty again. Is the one, is the only, is Mr. Evil Dragon. How are you doing, Evil?
I'm doing very good. I've just had the gigantic meal of food, so I am there, and I've just joined the lobby as well, so everything's looking nice and happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, coming in tonight, a circuit which is very difficult to overtake. I mean, it is one of those cases if you don't have to run down a turn one, you could be stuck behind the car in front for the entire lap until the next time around. I mean, around this kind of track with these caliber drivers, overtakes are going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching in the P4 tier earlier on, overtaking, not easy, the best opportunity down in turn 1, 2, and you can do spring a few surprises around this circuit. I see my fellow commentators in here as well with Papa, so I hope I'm not going to curse him today.
There we go. Obviously, your fellow co-comment Papa, so there's the sentimental favourite for yourself here tonight, but honestly, looking at what is going on out on track right now as we quickly transfer over to the action out on track, we see Alexa topping the times, and Alexa's one of those drivers that has shown great pace so far this season, but has just not been able to get the result that Alexa needs.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I have not been keeping up 100% to date, so I'm going to rely on you. I don't know if on your end, is Speed Whiteley got a front wing? Because he hasn't got, his car is in a million pieces on my screen. I think that's a graphical glitch.
What's it called? Waitsy.
Yes.
Yes, he does have a front wing on my end.
Right, so the game's having a little bit of a moment. I did join very late, so understandably it might having some issues, but it's going to be quite interesting to see for my first time commentating in P2 is just how the field spreads. Obviously, I've done realistic performance and a few of these names pop up. I've seen Jonas as well, Larkin. So there's a few names I recognise. So obviously, for you, who do you think is the quickest guys around here?
Well, Jacob so far this season has been absolutely impeccable, not only in terms of just the pace that he has, but also the consistency as well. He has yet to finish off of the podium so far this season. He is absolutely doing a fantastic job at the top. Kinney is a very quick driver that should have picked up a couple of race wins in the past couple of rounds, but it's just kind of fallen away from Kinney. And obviously, you got the likes of Alexa, who probably should have picked up the race win in Spain, but a safety car came out and it absolutely destroyed Alexa's strategy. There's definitely a fair few who you can look at and they are the front runners. Obviously, Salo as well being up there. I mean, Larkin, can never count Larkin out, and obviously Lukey as well, and Mokri.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking at the standings, Jacobs won the last 3 races, so he's a man on a mission. He's got a roll on. Kinley currently in P2, but there's a massive gap over to Jacobs, rather running away with it so far, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's come down to just individual errors at the end of the day. Obviously, Jacob he's kept his nose clean, he's kept himself out of trouble, and he's just being the most consistent one out of the front runners, whereas everyone else is kind of tripping over themselves a little bit. Obviously, Kinney, as mentioned just a moment ago, probably should have won a couple of the races in recent weeks, but it has just fallen away from Kinney, unfortunately, as we got Alexa coming to the line now. And what's it going to be for Alexa? It's a 15 flat from the Aston Martin. And honestly, when we look at like the lap times that we've seen so far here tonight from P3 and P4, that is a huge jump from P3 pole to P2 provisional pole right now.
Yeah, it was over a second nearly, isn't it?
P3, it was a 15.5 pole position, but half a second around here is massive.
Well, yeah, half a second. It might as well be a second, like you said, around here. I was watching Larkin, who I mentioned a moments ago, and he nearly spun into the wall as soon as I mentioned him. So my ability to curse Larkin knows no bounds. I've done it so many times in realistic. I fear for him. Our championship leader is Jacob. He is currently going through the middle sector right now, and he is, I believe, on an in lap. I think 2 seconds down on his time. So
yes.
Definitely an in lap. It's like I said earlier. It's always quite difficult to try and see who is on a lap time because there isn't really a greatest of live timing. But Cam's beginning his lap time down toward turn number 1. He's dragging a Haas behind him right now. I believe that might have been.
I believe that was Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, down towards turn number 1. Gets it stopped on the marks. Rear end having a little bit of a squiggle, so that's not the most ideal beginning of a lap time. But it's a long circuit, so you can find yourself around here. Down the hill you go. Third gear, about 18 miles an hour, then bring it up. And is he pushing right now? He certainly, the rear end doesn't look the most stable on Cam. First sector split, and it's down by a tenth of a second. That's a corner coming through there. I've seen many a car in P4 have a spin through there and end up in the walls. You come into the chicane. Right, then left. Third gear, hook it up through here. And then this is one of the most, well, I find it one of the most funnest areas of the circuit, apart from the right-hander, which is about to come up in a few moments' time. Outside curb, you can have an almighty spin if you get it wrong through that. Cam does it all nice and through. Second sector finds himself 2 tenths up, but he's finding himself right now with a mountain to climb over 17.2. He needs to find some 8 tenths of a second. So last 2 corners, unless he made a mistake last time around, the time, hopefully, shall have massively improved. Let's see, up across the line. Here comes Cam. Does he find time? Well, he finds half a second, but it seems like Cam may have struggled, but turn 1 wasn't the most optimal there, was it?
Absolutely not there for Cam, and that entire first sector just was not optimal for the Red Bull. Larkin now to the line, and he improves marginally, but doesn't improve position. He stays in P8 for the time being, and with 4 minutes to go in the session, it is now the calm before the storm. Everyone is on a lap. If they're on a flyer, they're probably going to be thinking about coming in at the end of this lap if it's not good enough for them. As Luki improves, goes up into P9 there. Alfredo on a lap as well. I believe just crossed the line to finish his lap. The calm before the storm now, and are we going to see anyone dipping into the 1 minute 14s? I mean, Alexa right now with a 15 flat has got to be the favourite for pole position, and not only a favourite for pole, but the favourite to get into the 14 share.
Well, yeah, he's only got to find, 41 thousandths of a second, so it's possible, but anything always can spring up as a surprise. You never know. McCoy, he could be very good as well as, like I said, the lull, everyone in at the pit lane. One of the McLarens coming out as as I'm just scrolling through the field to see is anyone else on a lap time. Waitsley is, I think he's just finished his time. Papa Squants, I believe, has finished his time because he's getting out of the way.
Yeah, Alexa just starting the final lap here with DRS wide open, heading down in towards turn number 1. Looking for the break-in around about the 100-meter board. Plenty of references to go into turn 1, but traction on the exit, absolutely crucial. Running down with DRS now in towards turn number 2. Nice tight line in third gear, nice and early on the throttle, using all the track to carry the momentum through turn 3. Now up the hill to turn number 4, where of course it is going to be the scene of where we can see a lot of invalidations just like that. And what I was going to say is a lot of track limits that could be picked up there, and we just seen one right there with Alexa.
Yeah, the rear end stepped out on the entrance, and as soon as that happened, you kind of just saw. He did a very good job to catch the car, to be fair, as I do apologise if I cough a little bit. I have just eaten a massive meal a few moments ago, but I shall compose myself for this. But actually, he might, if he saves some of the tyres, he can go again. But it won't be the most optimal thing. Like I said, everyone else on an outlap. So McCoy and I think it's Zontol in P2. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yep.
Could be very much if they can find 0.3 of a second. And the word is if, because I think that's confirmed. Alexa's not going to be able to do another lap with 1:40 on the clock. So he won't get back out again. So it's now all down to see who is going to be the first of this group of cars to begin a lap time. I think it might be Kermit coming across the line right now in the Chrome McLaren. And I will say it's a lovely delivery down towards turn number 1. But he's currently in 13th position. So, again, he's got to find 0.9 of a second. And to be fair, only 0.9 between the top 13 on the grid is incredibly good. Oh, well, he's in the wall, so I don't think he's going to be finding any time. I'll put that down to curse number 1 of the day for me. But who's next on a lap time?
I'm coming on board with Jacob now. Has a Mercedes in front, so that little bit of dirty air is not going to help Jacob here on this lap. Of course, Jacob currently in P7, looking to climb up the order, the championship leader. And in fact, the Mercedes gets out of the way, so Jacob will be very pleased to see that. And he's 900ths of a second up in Sector 1.
Yeah, through he comes then. Make sure you get absolutely hooked up left. Perfect on the exit. Uses all of the curb. Into the chicane. Chuck it all over those curbs. Uses all of it as you can. Hug it like your favourite granny through here. Dives through in 4th gear. Then, of course, this is one of the most difficult corners. A little bit on the asterisk. That might have cost him a foul a second. Does he keep it flat through there? Absolutely pedal to the floor. 0.2 up length. And this looks like it's a 15.4. Looks like 15.4, 15.3 at the moment, but he's got 2 more corners to go. Soaring at the rail through the last corner. You'll have, looks like a Haas ahead of him. That won't hold him up at all. Might give him a tiniest bit of toe across the line. Can he get himself on the front row of the grid? The answer is yes, he can then. A 15.3, exactly 10,000th of a second ahead of the Williams, who's invalidated his lap time.
Yeah, Moquey now in the final sector, marginally down in the middle sector, so Moquey needs to find all the time in the final sector. What can the Ferrari do as we come through the final corner? Zontal obviously retiring from the session, invalidated on his lap, not going to improve. But what can the Scuderia Ferrari do to the line? And there's no improvement in position. It is a slight improvement in time, but Kinney up into P3, I think. Kinney finding a bit of time there, going up ahead of Zontal, and a great qualifying result for the Williams so far.
Yeah, it certainly is a very good qualifying for him. Like I said, so far, P3 and 4 for the Williams pair. But who is on a lap time right now? We've got Axelrod, purple sector 2 on my screens. He's coming through the last couple of corners right now. He's used pretty much all of his ERS physically possible so far. He's down on 10% ERS then through the last corner. Can he improve up to the line then? Looking to see if anyone else has made an improvement. Alfredo goes up to P6. What about Axel? Goes up to P7. So unless Lukey can do anything, well, he can't because he's invalidated. And Cam, who's just coming through the last corner, does improve, but stays in last. Another 0.3 of a second up. So it is Axel on P1, Jacob in P2, Kimley in P3 then. So 2 of the top 2 in the standings are in the top 3 so far, and that is going to be an awesome race to do. I don't know, I'm sure you can confirm it, who has the engine penalties today.
Well, honestly, P2 is the only tier so far that does not have any engine or gearbox penalties, so the grid is the grid.
Well, that's going to be Sealer. So, it's a difficult circuit to overtake. I say this, like, all the people who had penalties in P4 did end up coming all the way through the grid. So, apparently the FPS is low on your end, according to Jess.
That is not good.
Luckily, it's not a PowerPoint, though. PowerPoint. So, we seem to be okay right now. But Alexi on pole, and that's a dominating pole position, isn't it?
Yeah, Alexa doing fantastic. Obviously, 3 times the pole time. Actually, I did quickly. Oh no. I forgot to go through the entire stream down down to the bottom. That is my bad, guys. That is my bad. To Lukey will probably get the grid going. That is my bad. I quickly went to the race image instead of going down to the bottom. But yeah, I mean, an incredible lap from Alexa. Obviously, 3/10 ahead of the rest of the field. And around a track like this, that is a huge margin to try and overturn.
Well, yeah, it most certainly is. 3 attempts. If you can keep that up in the race, I mean, you're looking for a win of over 10 to 15 seconds, if, of course, you can have that. But the key thing around here is breaking out of that DRS extremely early, because DRS around here is very powerful. As Rich has left the session, you weren't really meant to do that, I don't think. You were meant to just retire on circuit, which normally ends up, as I always find, the most beautiful section of where in P4 I saw a car on top upside down on top of another, which it made me jump out of my skin, I will say. But I think we got some sponsorships to go through, I think.
Yep, I'm just quickly getting all the sponsorships up, and then we'll be going through that. Just bear with me. I do apologise, guys. It was rushing around from the end of P3, so I do apologise for not having everything set up already.
No, it's absolutely okay. Oh my dear lord, that is the worst accident I've seen in my life in the background. You can't see this, but I have just seen a car triple barrel roll on my screen. I gotta love the one hub, guys. Yeah.
Okay, right, so run you through everything here, of course, to our title sponsor with Delta.app, of course, for all your investments, 18 plus this is, for all your investments in one app, make smarter decisions like the world's top investors and track your journey to success through Delta. If you use exclamation Delta in the Twitch chat or click the link in the YouTube description, if you are watching this back on YouTube later on, you will be able to use it to track your investments. Of course, Next Level Racing as well, who sponsor the league, and of course provide some fantastic prizes for the drivers. And of course, you can see some of the prizes right there. Some of the products and that they do provide is absolutely fantastic, and of course it does bring a big level in terms of the immersion into the racing scene. Of course, sim racing setups, where of course you can get all of your setup needs, whether it's esports setups, safe setups, intermediates, wets, you name it. Sim racing setups has got you covered. And of course, here at OneHub, we do have the Speedster Award. The Driver of the Day Award, where of course, if you win Driver of the Day, you do get a £10 voucher for sim racing setups. And of course, if you use code OneHubRacing at the checkout, you can get 5% off. And obviously, we got Pure Sim Gear as well, who sponsor and provide the league with some fantastic products, the gloves and the socks. And I'm currently wearing a pair of Pure Sim Gear socks right now, and they are absolutely fantastic. And of course, if you use the code OHR10 in checkout, you'll be able to get 10% off. And of course, Pure Sim Gear do come through with the Speedster Award for the most combined fastest lap and pole positions. To Vespa Twin as well, our partner who sponsors our official apparel here in OneHub Racing. And of course, finally to Sim Grid, who of course are the masters that do help us in terms of the table and everything. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the table set up, but I will try to get it set up by the end of the race so you guys can see what's going on. But yeah, SimGrid help out massively in terms of getting the results and everything sorted. Otherwise, we'll be using Google Forms, and everyone does not like Google Forms. It can always be a mess. And of course, last but not least, our charity, the Mental Health Foundation. And there we go. That is the sponsors and partners all sorted and taken care of. And I tell you what, I mean, I'm looking now just to see what's going on in terms of the drivers' press conference. We did manage to get Jonas in for tonight. The question was put to Jonas. Welcome. So, Jonas, how would you consider your season to be going so far? Would you say the tracks we've had so far have been good for you, or are you looking forward to the back end of the season? Jonas coming through saying the season has not gone great, but if he's being honest, there have been a few flashes of pace, like in Australia until he crashed, but he's been too inconsistent and making too many mistakes. I don't think there's been a race where I haven't made one mistake. I am looking forward to the back end of the season. I like a lot of the tracks, so hopefully I can get it together for the next few races. So Jonas, obviously, he's pointing out that he has made some mistakes this season. He's shown like glimpses of what he's capable of, but it's those niggling mistakes, and that could be said for a lot of the drivers here in P2 over the course of the season.
Oh yeah, I mean his results P11, 12, 16 and 7, sitting on 4 points. But it's a difficult tier. Of course, from what I used to remember, a lot of these guys here in the P2, they used to all be in the P1 tier back many seasons ago, especially the likes of Larkin, Cam as well. I remember, of course, racing with him a lot in other tiers. So there's a lot of drivers here, and I just want to say, by the way, I've just read the One Hop chat. I do wishing Riley a good recovery, by the way. He has broken his wrist from a crasher earlier on in P4 tier. So I sincerely wish him extremely quick recovery, because that it's not nice when you do something like that, is it?
Absolutely not. And of course, I echo your sentiments. Obviously, Riley, make sure you get yourself recovered and don't put too much stress on your wrist and everything. Like, take it nice and easy now. Look after yourself.
Yeah, most certainly. I'm just reading it as he's talking to me in the chat. It was on a Moser R3 here on the wheelies. So, that's going to hurt in the morning. Well, it's going to hurt non-stop. But to digress on to thing, of course, the constructors' standings. Something that I really should pay attention more to. I always seem to gloss over it. It's a lot closer, of course. Alpine are on 83 points, 70 for Ferrari. Williams on 56 and 45 from McLaren. So constructors is all still very open, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the constructors so far this season, it's just been, it has been something that like with you, I have somewhat like skimmed over for the most part, but it is still incredibly close. And yeah, I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen, because every single race will affect it. And, just for example, I mean, if Jacob was to have a bad race, for example, then that would obviously help everyone in terms of the drivers. But in terms of the constructors, it makes a big difference to the Alpines as well.
Yeah, certainly is. And I mean, of course, like I said, it's a long race, 35 laps, not 36 as my brain thought. Maybe I'm so used to the formation lap and things, I always count it. But nearly guessed it correctly earlier on, at least. But except not many overtaking opportunities. Of course, it is going to be dry. We're expecting all the rain in the next couple of races, which is I think that might be a first where we've had all the dry races and all the wet races literally together, but and it's not all spread up. So it's going to cause some interesting, because we've got like Baku coming up. Sorry, I believe Jeddah coming up. So that's going to be a difficult circuit, especially if it rains. I
mean, for me personally, I do think that we will see the first drops of rain this season next week in Suzuka, and I am not looking forward to that, because I absolutely love Suzuka in the dry, and I really don't want it to rain, but it's just going to rain, and it's been holding off for so long. Oh yeah, I mean, it's just, we've been waiting, we've been expecting the rain. Now the question is, who is going to do the start? Do you want to do the start, or do I want to do the start? You are my guest. I will let you do the start. I should do the start. I do like doing a good old start as well. So, a few moments' time, we'll be underway, looking down at the pit lane and trying to see if I can spot who's on what tyres.
But the McLaren team have put all their tyres away, so I can't see it. Normally they have a set there, which indicates what tyres they're going to be on, but the game's eluding me for now. Like I said, safety car probability is quite high around here, historically. So we'll find out to see exactly who's going to do what. Turn 1, difficult. We've seen many an incident in real life and in league racing down here. I've had my fair experience of being pointing backwards towards turn number 1 and being the bowling ball, which is never the ideal thing. So just waiting a few moments' time, and we shall be underway. Of course, like I said, normally about a minute to 2 minutes. Doesn't give us a countdown like it used to on the older games, which is it puts you on your spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, because obviously, like, we could just be like casually talking, like going back and forth and that, and then all of a sudden, then the 5 red lights are on immediately, and it's like, I do kind of miss the countdown timer. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a slight pain, and obviously, hopefully we'll be starting. Normally I'm going to talk something. I'm going to begin a sentence, and then we'll start. And then I have to... Oh, there we go. Exactly like this. So here we go then. 5 red lights then here in Hungary. Look, but never stare, and we're underway. It's a good start, but who's coming through the middle? It's one of the Williams then. Shooting through the middle then. It's the Alpine who's got a storming start. It turns like Alex has dropped out of position. There's contact in the background, and he's off. He's spun round there as contact, and who was that involved? It was one of the Hasses in... I'm not sure. It might have been Axelrod, certainly, because Nick was a little bit further down, but Axelrod is gone into the rear of Alex and is spun around down towards turn 1. So a disaster start. One of the racing points now put in the wrong direction as well. So all sorts of trouble and all sorts of drama. To begin here on that number 1 means Jacob yet again leads the way then here in Hungary. Kimby in 2nd, Zontal in 3rd, Alfredo in 4th. Then comes the Ferrari of Solau and Larkin in 6th. Jonas now up to 7th, Lukey in 8th, Nick in 9th. There's all sorts of battle. Alex is having a real fight through then. He's already back up to 17th position, so straight down the back to straight up to the 17th, and he's got a tall race to come then. As we come down towards the middle sector, is everyone to keep themselves all nice and clean. One of the Hasses very wide there. And that looks like Axel has gone off. He's rejoined the circuit just about as he got, well, he certainly got damage on the front right end plate, completely torn off. That was a disastrous start for the Aston Martin, though.
Yeah, absolutely disastrous for Alexa, and of course for AK Rowe as well. It's been a fantastic start for Camke, who's climbed up several positions. Waity as well climbing up the positions. Nick climbing up a couple of positions, but at the front, the championship leader leads the race once again. And
yeah,
it's honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Jacob is just so consistent, and he just seems to find his way into positions that you just don't you forget how he got there. You just don't realize how he's got there.
Oh yeah, I mean, he got an absolutely perfect start. I thought it was Kim that he got a very good start from the outboard camera, but it turned out it was both of them got a good start. And I'm going to guess Axel just bogged down then. He just couldn't get the car off the grid. There you can see your 2 stops, lap 11 to 18. Of course, double set of hard compound tyres expected. My brain always used to think it'd be double mediums, but it seems it's more double hards or hard tyres. A bit more of a racy tyre, it seems, on this game than from experience. I always used to think the hards were one of my weaker tyres, but now I find hards one of the best.
Yeah, I think over the game cycles, the hard tyres is just been like the good old consistent tyre to be on. Obviously, mediums, everyone apart from Kermit, Rich, and Rowe on a set of the mediums, and Nicholas as well. Everyone pretty much on a set of mediums, so they're going to be going, I'm going to say, around lap 8. I think that's when we'll start to see the first round of pit stops, because after lap 8, you really see a drop off in terms of the grip and the pace of these mediums.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The tyre degradation on the game is extremely high. It's definitely caught me out because I've been used to been playing, of course. I mean, I've taken a very long break from racing games. My last proper game I was into was F121 in the old car. So, and obviously the tyre on those cars were very light, so you never had issues. Good to hear, by the way, on my screen. The cars have done my favourite little glitch where they're all just revving extremely loudly. So I've turned the game volume completely down so my ears don't rupture. I will say Kinley's got the bit between his teeth though. He's keeping Jacob so far relatively honest. To be fair, the entire Well, it was that top, was that the top pretty much 10, 11 cars nearly together in a big DRS train. So I mentioned earlier, DRS train is going to be very prevalent, and you need to get your cars through. And seeing down the field, Cavs are being overtaken by Alexei, storming through the grid. But I think this is going to be Jacob's real fight now, because here comes Kenny with the DRS. Then will presumably pull to the inside, a little bit of a move. Try and cover a bit up the inside. Here comes Kenny. And are you going to throw the old switcheroo then? No, he's covered that absolutely perfectly. And now look for Zontal. Well, never mind. Zontal's gone spinning into the wall. So never mind. Zontal has gone and made a mistake. And, well, I say watch for him. And, well, we are watching him now because his front right end plate is completely torn off. And that's going to be straight to the pit lane. And that is going to be pretty much his race. Pretty much going to be ruined from now on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say just a moment ago, obviously with Kinney and Zontal being on the back of Jacob, will we see any team shenanigans going on with the Williams? But now we have both of the Alpines lined astern in second and third, so now the roles are reversed. Will we see Alpines having a bit of team shenanigans with Kinney?
Well, it's always possible, so let's see. Alfredo's dropping a little bit back, but of course that is mainly because of the gap that's been opened up. A huge gaggle of cars, by the way, and it's McCoy, Waitley and all of them. It's three abreast in the background. This could get ugly. They're going to keep themselves all on the island. Yes, they do. Is 3 into 1 nearly doesn't work, and this is all kind of being held up as Zontal, like I said, with that front wing damage, and you've got to be careful here. They don't trip over. Now in he comes, so they're all going to get away with it, but they're all still side by side. The two Red Bulls battling through the last corner. They're still side by side, a bit of touching, and somehow that's not pirouetted one of them into the wall. Be careful, boys, you're touching tyres, and you do not want to do that. Are we going to see a dive up the inside? Nope. Still side by side. This is brilliant. Look at this. It's not going to end well eventually. Oh, a bit of a tongue slapper for Papa, and they keep going. That was brilliant. Side by side was out for nearly 3-4 corners.
Yeah, obviously the Red Bulls have been giving the green light to go racing each other, so it's fantastic to see Cam K and Papa Squanch side by side through several corners. At the front, Alfredo is struggling to stay with the top two. We just saw that gap just increase to a second, and there it is, just teetering above and below a second right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the top two are in a different class of their own right now, but like I said, we're expecting pit stops in the next, 4 laps, give or take. So we're going to see, we're looking at the ERS usage right now, that's basically what I'm doing, 37, 51, 81. So Alfredo's losing a lot less of his ERS right now, so probably trying to save it a little bit, which is always good. I mean, it's pretty hard for me to tell how they're doing the corners, because every time I run on board of it, the revs are either full or none. In comes Alexei then, so I'm wondering if that's going to be a front wing change. Potentially, did he get any damage from the contact with Axel earlier on? It's going to be a set of hard compound tyres, I'm going to guess. It looks like no front wing, so he's absolutely perfect for him. Continuing up the front though, 1.3 seconds now is the gap between Kinley and Jacob. So Kinley are starting to stretch those tyres a little bit right now. He's certainly using hot lap a little bit more, because he was quite hot, 22%. So he's pushing on as fast as he can, open that gap, because the undercut strategy around here, very powerful on this game. It's nearly, 2 seconds on some circuits, sometimes 3 from my experience. You can gain huge amount of time, so it's all about trying to trigger the undercut strategy, or trying to preempt the cars behind by pitting yourself early. But you want to make sure, especially because the gap is opening up towards the midfield, you don't get caught in traffic.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key for these guys, making sure they don't get held in traffic. The first pit stop should be okay. I think they will be able to find a nice little pocket of gap at the back of the field. But for those that started on a set of the hard tyres, obviously they're going to go a little bit deeper. So these guys on the mediums, once they make their pit stops, they're going to hope either that they don't catch up to the hards on their stint, or they hope they catch up to the hard runners on the DRS straight. I think that's going to be the key for them at the moment.
Yeah, Lawrence in the pit there then in the pink racing ball. The first time I've seen the pink car. I didn't know that was in the game. So I will say, I do enjoy that we've got different livery. Unfortunately, it does sometimes confuse me. Zontal, fast lap of this race. Lukey, 3-second time penalty. That's a little bit close out the pit there. And I think between it's going to be the McLaren. That's the Racing Bulls. Almost got it a Racing Point then because it's pink. See, confusion lies in the air. Kinley, 1.5 seconds, stretching it. 1.6 between the two Alpines. Then comes 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. In fact, all the way down to 9th. So they're all stuck in a DRS train. And from what I experience from watching P4 is, you've got to be very careful here because turn cause a very fair amount of accidents. So people going deep, of course, trying to overtake, trying to do a switchback, and the cars behind mistiming it and ending up running in. Kimley's pitting now. So, I mentioned earlier, do you want to preempt it? He's preempted it. He'll come out behind, I think it's going to be the Sauber. So, well, one of the Saubers, I think, unless they're coming in the pit lane now. I think they're staying out. So, should come out around about 15th position, which will be nice.
Yeah, he should slot in just in between the Saubers here as he exits the pit lane now. And, yeah, there we go. He's got a couple of seconds to work with for now in front. But Nicholas is not going to go away. He's going to have to overtake him on track. And that's going to be the thing. But he's got 4.5 seconds clear 8 to push into. And now Jacob has to respond here because the undercut is quite powerful around Hungary. So Jacob definitely will need to respond this lap at the very least.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you can either do, you've got two choices right now. You either try and stretch these tyres out to try and get which on some circuits can work from experience, but the tyre wear is key around here. It's about 60% for me at least before I can't have to stop. That's when I hit the cliff, and of course I don't normally mention the cliff because it's something that only really exists, and that's a very wide line. He's staying up another lap. Of course, I remember, of course, it was 2012. Kimi Räikkönen hit a cliff, and well, he was, I think it was P3, and within about 4 or 5 laps, end up in P12. I don't think it's going to be that extreme here if they stay. Normally, they end up either getting punches before then, as in comes Luke, Nick, and Silko in the Aston Martin. So they are all triggered. In comes the Ferrari. So this is going to allow Kinley to have a much more easier time of it. He's got that gap now, 2.9 seconds. Hot Tires expecting what's around about lap 14 from what I saw. Do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking like around anywhere between 12 to 15 laps on the first set of hards for the hard runners at the start. But I think for Kinney, he's going to stretch us out to maybe around lap 20, 21 maybe, and then chuck on another set of hards. If he's got 2 sets of hards available, he might have another set of mediums, which obviously would indicate a bit of a later pit stop. But the gap between Kinney and Jacob, last time I checked, was down to 16 seconds. So Kinney is going to get a fantastic undercut here on the race leader. Speaking of undercuts, Alexa has managed to undercut Lukey and Nick.
Yeah, of course, he did pit a lot earlier on, and it worked. These guys were all battling, but that kind of really shows that Alexa, of course, that mistake on that one really cost him because, I mean, there's still a long ways to go, and there's still an opportunity for a podium, in my opinion, as in comes Larkin and Fowler, another 2 fellow people I've got very good memories on as we down the straight. We're going to see any moves. Nicholas, Cam, and Kinley.
Contact here between Lukey, Nick, and Rich, all getting tangled up with each other. And Seiko is now going to try to get through it all, but contact there between Rich and Lukey for the final corner. Nick getting collected, and it heartbreak for Nick on his return to One Hub this week. And yeah, it's just absolute carnage here. I think front wings definitely were flying off. I think we definitely saw a front wing fly off one of the cars. I think it might have been Rich's or potentially Nick's. And yeah,
Nick and Rich, I think both got damage.
Yeah, Nick missing an end plate there as Rich trying to close up to Seiko, but not going to get close enough coming into turn 4. And not a ideal overtaking place either is turn 4. Unless you are completely alongside, and even then it's very risky. But
that's brave.
Lukey and Rich here absolutely having a battle down into the chicane. Another area where you just need that run to go for it, and Lukey able to get it done. But Rich, on his old hard tyre, has been a bit of a bottleneck for these guys now.
Yeah, no apologies by the way. It was the Aston Martin of I think it was Sicko. I think that's how you're going to pronounce his name there. He's got the front wing end plate as shredded. So I'm expecting, you're going to presume he's going to come in the pit lane now. Unless he can stay out. Yeah, he comes. So that's going to be a very tall order for a strategy then. So you're not going to get hard tyres to the end of this. So it'll be another stop afterwards.
How about this? Alexa with that 5-lap undercut has jumped Jacob into a net P2 here. So Alexa has essentially recovered back into a podium position. Salo has got the mediums on and all over the back of Jacob now for what is net P3 in this race.
Yeah, but Salah, here we go then. Is he going to think about a move down into here? No, he thinks better of it. Except you really have to be respectful of that corner because if you try and go side by side through there, the chances are one or if not both of you are having, well, a hideous crash on the outside of the corner or getting pirouetted into the inside of the corner, which, of course, like I said, the inside cut, it can drag you off very easily. You've got to be careful for it. It's a track that, because you have to have a lot of respect, first hosting a race back in 1986, because the first race behind the Iron Curtain. The layout itself hasn't changed a lot, apart from in around about 2002 with the section we're watching Salau come through right now. That used to be a lot more of a quicker right-hander, and he rejoined exactly here. Back in comes Jonas and Alfredo, so Kermit takes the lead of the race in the McLaren then, so he's doing well. Kinley in P2, of course, yet to take his second stop, of course. 2-stop strategy mandatory for all of the drivers. Only 2 people have done the 2. And both of them, of course, have had damage, so they'll be doing a 3-stop this afternoon, which is going to hope for a safety car, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to hope for the safety car or at the very least the fastest lap outside the top 10. I think for the likes of Nick and Seiko, that's going to be their aim for the remainder of this race unless a safety car does come out. But right now, I mean, Salo doing well in those mediums, sticking with Jacob here. And it's important that Salo tries to get himself ahead of Jacob. Because at this moment in time, those mediums are the better tyre to be on, but they won't be for a huge amount longer.
Lawrence gone right around, gone off the circuit. He's tried it around the outside of Papa. Didn't work. I tell you what, this is getting a little bit for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. Look at them all. They're all separated by, well, probably half a car length between all 7 of them. And I've got to say, I think Rich has got a problem here because he has not got the pace. And just look at the cars. Yeah, he isn't stopped. That's the problem. So, look at him. He's almost pushing his Mackay. Move over, he says. I'm coming for it. And he's got to be careful. He doesn't rear end the car there as the 2 Red Bulls have gone very the background there, so they're all switching positions. Alexi has dropped behind Jacob, as I'm just keeping an eye on this. This is getting incredibly close through the last corner, down the start-finish line. I think we're going to see nearly 3 wide if we're not careful here. As let's see, Rich can't quite do it. I can't say this is frustrating here. Now can Mackay come up the inside? Late braking, he comes in. Down the inside, come a bit of a lock-up. And now careful you don't get spun out from a car trying to do the undercut. Exactly like that, and you just about keep it on the island as well. Rear tyres absolutely cooking themselves. Tries around the outside, can't quite do it. Has the Red Bull up the inside. Can't quite do it either. This is all becoming an absolutely incredible battle for what is pretty much the last point right now. Let's see, can he do it on the outside? No, the inside. That's going to be up to it. There's going to be contact. There is contact. That was a daily in a very solid sort. You could see that one coming. That's a little bit of frustration there for Waitley then, as off goes the Red Bull as well, and this is incredibly close, and somehow none of them are fired from this, as in comes Kermit from 2nd position, Jacob is 3rd, Alexi is 4th, and Salau is 5th, and whilst I'm just going to keep an eye on this one, I'm going to quickly just check and see if we're going to see a move down towards turn number. Here comes Salau on the back of Alexi, then is going to pull to the inside, then down the inside into turn number 1. Gets the car stopped. Are we going to see an attempt of an undercut? I think we might, but I think he's going to have got the DRS, so he's not going to be able to do it right now. In finally, meanwhile, has come Reg, which has basically opened the floodgates. The Red Bull, the Racing Point, Racing Bulls. Here comes Papa Squants up the inside. On the inside, make sure you get the car nice and stopped outside of the Racing Bulls. And this is a corner you can get very, very close to, and around the outside down into turn number 3. I think that was a letting off there ever so slightly, and I think Lawrence is going to fight for another day than get involved.
I tell you what, obviously Rich being that little spanner in the works for these guys. Unfortunately, they've lost a huge amount of time. I mean, look at the gap that Moku's managed to build on Cam just by getting through when he did just like a lap and a half ago, because the gap is now nearly 4 seconds between them. So that's how much Rich was holding up the pack.
Yeah, absolutely it was. And I mean, that was, well, I don't think I took a breath in that entire, like, 5-minute combo. I can have a breather now for a second. Or will I? Because here comes Alexei. Now, is he going to try and come? I think that's a bit too far back. But the DRS is powerful around here. I mean, a dive bomb from this range would be audacious. I've seen dive bombs from this range. You can see how close he pulls up on the brakes, though. So the Aston Martin, I'm going to call everyone on a racing point today, aren't I? Pink car's a racing point. Well, I suppose that makes sense. And the Aston Martin used to be a racing point. It used to be, of course, well, it used to be Jordan back in the olden days. And I've called an Aston Martin a Jordan before, accidentally, somehow. Did also used to be green at one point, the Jordans, back in 1992. They had a little bit of green, well, especially 91, they definitely were. Meanwhile, Papa Squad has dropped down a position further down the field. So Lawrence promoted up. Now, I think these two have come together. Look, front left end plate's completely shattered. And it wasn't a minute ago. Now, I'm not saying they have collided, but it would make sense if they have collided because, well, there was a front wing and now there isn't a front wing.
Yeah, I think maybe, possibly either Lawrence just going into the back of one of the cars, or maybe a little side-by-side action where just a little bit of contact with the wheel has chipped off a little bit of that end plate there. But Lawrence now really going to struggle with the downforce, and that's going to allow Papa Squanch the opportunity to get through. But I mean, for right now, this is all outside of the points, and it's going to be crucial for these guys to try and get themselves into a position where they can maybe snag a point or two by the end of this race. But Lawrence into the pits now, and that'll be for a front wing change. I can assure you of that. Meanwhile, up at the front, Alexa, Larkin, and Salo line astern, third, fourth, and fifth. And Jonas is only just off the back, and he's got Alfredo for company.
Yeah, it's always nice to see Larkin running up in the echelons of the top 5. I mean, I've got very fond memories of Larkin. He used to be in P1 many seasons ago. He's dropped down to P2 on this game, at least. So we'll see what he can do, as long as he doesn't end up spinning in the next 5 seconds, which is, as I've spoken before, it seems very oddly hard. A mistake, and if you've seen the car spin around, he's fine. Right now, Jonas and Alfredo, like you said, just behind. I will say, look at Jonas' caught these guys at a rate of not. How old's his tyres in comparison?
It's 2 lap fresher.
4 laps versus 6 and 10, so it's a little bit fresher, but not by a huge amount, especially to Larkin. It's Alexa who's more in the cork. Going to become a cork in the bottle. We're expecting more. If he can stretch these tyres, I don't know if he's had another set of hards. Do you know?
There's potential that Alexa will have another set of hards. Obviously, started on a set of the mediums and has gone on to the hards early. A fantastic undercut from Alexa has got Alexa back into the podium conversation. But I think Alexa needs to take these tyres at least another 4 laps at minimum.
22, I think he's going to be able to get 22 laps out of these. Well, he's not going to get 22 laps at the tyres, but he needs to get 2 lap 20 of 35. So, and he can go about 12 laps to the end, which is around about the comfortable margin for not overwearing a bit of pain for a couple of laps to gain, hopefully, not a lot of pain towards the end of the race. Stops now. He's going to be in an awful lot of trouble in the last couple of laps because the tyres will start to wear, and then he'll be at the mercy of Jonas, Alfredo. Lukey, to be fair, is not too far off the back of these guys either, all things considered. Despite, as you said, he had a mistake and had some contact earlier on. Nick's in the pit lane for a set of hard compound tyres, so that's 18 laps. Oh, that's not good for Alfredo's cut the corner. You want to be careful. You don't do that too many times. The penalty situation, 3, 3, and 3 for, well, the 3 you can see have got penalties on your screen. That's Alexa, Alfredo, and Lukey. So they have their 3 strikes, and then you get pinged with a penalty down towards turn 1 as Alexa. Slough. No, not quite, but Slough's starting to come back into this. He's on the medium tyres. And those medium tyres, I'm going to find which one. I've done 8 laps. So we expect him to come in. If he could stretch him to lap 20, he'll go 15 laps on the hards. That's doable.
Yeah, I think for Salo right now, it's all about trying to preserve these mediums as best as can, because right now I think the mediums are starting to feel a little bit second-hand for the Ferrari, and you're seeing the hard runners now starting to gain that confidence. Obviously, you got Jonas and Alfredo now on the back of this train as well, and they got the fresher tyres out of everyone, and they're not going to wait around. If an opportunity is there, they're going to go for a move down the inside or around the outside, if possible. And coming through turn 11 with the dirty air, the more grip that you have, the better you can take it, and you can have a look in towards turn 12, the break-in that we have just gone through right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a corner you can make overtaking opportunities. It is difficult, it relies on you. And the corner before, it's very easy. Like I said, hook a curb on the, hook a tyre on the curb, not hook both works, I suppose, and end up going spinning into the barrier. That is exactly the issue that Riley had, of course, and well, he's broken his wrist because of it, but you're going to hope no one else breaks their wrist. Very close down towards turn number 1. Salau there, struggling, but you can see Alex lighting those up, no traction control very clearly on any of these drivers, and they're just trying to get them through. That 19 of 35, up now 3.4 seconds. That's the gap between Kinley and Jacob. Jacob right now taking it a little bit more, well, he can probably stretch those tyres out, take it a little bit easier. And we'll be going a set of medium compound tyres, I'd presume, unless it's another set of hards they're going to go on, which seems to be the case for a lot of these drivers. But second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all battling together. Lukey, meanwhile, he dropped behind Kermit. So I don't know if he's made a mistake, because he was ahead of Kermit.
I think it was a DRS overtake down in towards turn 1. Yeah. Lukey dropping down behind Kermit, and this is where things are going to get very interesting now, Evil, because we're coming up now towards the second pit stop phase, and with how spread the field is, it's likely you're going to get caught in a little bit of traffic here. So the next pit stops are going to be crucial as Salau is in, and everyone else carries on. So Salau, let's see where the Ferrari comes out relative to those outside the top 10.
It'll be between the two Red Bulls, I think, here. Let's see. It's about a 3-second pit stop. Out he comes. Here comes the Ferrari through the last corner. In fact, I think he's going to be ahead of his teammate. He'll certainly be just with his team out of the pit lane. I think just behind, but I think maybe just ahead of that Red Bull. And he wants to be careful coming out the pit lane, though he doesn't have going into his side pod. No, he's fine then on the exit of the pit lane. So, yeah. Just ahead of the Red Bull, not between the Red Bulls, so pretty close to my prediction there. But he'll be fine then. If he catches his teammates, you would presume McCoy will move over very easily. Meanwhile, I think there's a battle going on here between the Williams and the Sauber. And well, the Audi is going to be in real life now. And I will say, that Williams livery is reminiscent of 2021, really. I gotta say, I really dig with the white. I know I think it's a reference to like the 2000s Williams, isn't it?
A little bit, yes. It is a bit of a nod back to the early 2000 Williams cars and that they used to run back then. But yeah, Zondel obviously just coming out of the pits moments ago. He's now pulling away from Nicholas. And it's going to be interesting to see where Zondel is going to come out relative to the rest of the field as well, because he's on a bit of a recovery drive at the moment as we got our race leader Kinney and Alfredo in the pits. So again, Jacob has left himself open to the undercut.
Yeah, he has, but crucially low for Jacob. Kinley's come out, and look who he's come out just behind. It's going to be Lukey, and then it's going to be Kermit. So he's going to have to overtake these two cars, and that's not going to be an easy feat to do around this circuit. I mean, unless you get the DRS down towards turn 1, in which case it's going to be an easy feat. You did mention Zontal, by the way, first lap of the race in that Williams, and he is currently 15th on the grid. Alexi gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit. Now, the penalties are going to be crucial as you come into the line, which are very much fast approaching. We are in the last pit stop window. And look here, Kinley, you're going to sense there's a bit of frustration because he does not want to be stuck up behind that Mercedes. And the first opportunity is going to be down the corner. You're not going to make a move into this one. Don't try it. But into the next one, if you get a good exit here, you can do a lunge. But he's a little bit too far back right now. In comes Jacob. And this is going to be critical right now because that gap, I think that gap is going to be a little bit closer. Think here. He's trying to go around the outside into the last corner. In comes Loki. He's going to let him through, but where is Jacob going to be? He's coming out the pit lane right now. I think he will still be behind. The question is how much is he behind? It's it's going to be quite a bit behind. It's going to be about 5 seconds, I think, 5-6 seconds. Yeah, 5.8 coming out. No, sorry, 3.8. So there we go. So he's gained a tiny bit of time, hasn't he not? There, I think.
So Kinney coming into the pits, it was around about 3 point something seconds ahead of Jacob. He's gained about a second tops on Jacob.
Jonas has hit the wall, I think, because the front end plate's gone. He was ghosted for a brief seconds. I cut to him, and I don't believe he had damage before, so I think he spun. Now, the question is where has he spun? Now, he's either gone off turn 1, 3, 4, or he's gone off on turn number 5. I think it's likely going to be of turn 4 if he has gone off, because the front left end plate, it's non-existent. It's like disintegrated completely. So luckily for him, he can come into the pit lane if he's gone right now. It will be a front wing change, which will drop him behind the likes of Kermit, especially Kinley as well, as Kinley is a man on the mission right now. The corner. And, yellow flag. That's an Aston Martin off.
Yeah, I think that might be Seiko that's fallen down the order. Yeah, but unfortunately for Seiko, and I'm not going to lie, Kinney needed to get through on Kermit, because the amount of time that Kinney was losing to Jacob in that middle sector, being stuck behind the McLaren, was absolutely biblical. But now Kinney is through, can try and stretch his legs now. Kermit should probably be in the pits at the end of this lap, as Seiko is out of this race, came into the pits to retire.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So, yeah. It's always a difficult one, of course, when you make a mistake. I don't know if he got more damage than we thought, because he was certainly the one. If you got, of course, floor or rear wing damage, it's definitely a no-brainer for the safety of other competitors to come and retire the car, because it's no fun, especially when you have rear wing damage. Because the car, especially on a circuit like this where there's some very high speed, it can be very treacherous.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob now getting close to the back of Kermit. He's going to hope that Kermit peels off into the pits here. And no, Kermit's going to stay out, so he's going to have to make this overtake happen on track. But he's getting right underneath that rear wing is Jacob. And now with DRS, ERS, moves to the inside, and it's going to be job done before the break-in.
Yeah, it's a relatively easy manoeuvre. Apologies there. Down towards turn number 1. Doesn't even need to get down towards turn number 1. Didn't even need to get to the start-finish line there. But that kind of shows you Kermit's tyres are dead. And I'm surprised he hasn't come in for a set compound. Unless he's going for another set of mediums. Ooh. Off the road. That's the front wing, I think, completely gone. On the Racing Bulls, I think the camera angle is being annoying. It won't show us it. It will do now when he ungoes. Is the front wing gone? Yes. The front wing is completely gone. So, and that's a second car in, well, that 2 laps it's gone off in that corner, and it's, well, inboard of Kinley, and this is where it's happened. So it's hooked it probably around that corner route that we're going through there, or just out of the right-hander before the little left. So it's a difficult area of the circuit, and I mean, I always find this area of the circuit really challenging for myself. So obviously I'm not the only one. That's unfortunate for Lawrence. 10-second time penalty in the pit lane and out of the race. 3 second for Zontal as well. So that's the second retirement of this afternoon in the space of 2 laps. So unfortunate.
I have... Oh, never mind. Kermit is coming into the pits. I was about to say, I think I'm having an idea why Kermit's staying out so long. I think he was going to try and help his teammate out, but he's coming to the pits, so there goes that theory out the window. But Larkin, he's not too far away from jumping both Alfredo and Alexa in terms of the penalties.
Yeah, I will say that could have been very awkward for Kermit there. His car slowing down. Car was stalled. Luckily, it ghosted and disappeared just in time. Otherwise, that could have been a little bit of awkwardness for Kermit, because he would have got stuck there had he not have disappeared. Luckily, he has, like I say. So, no harm done. Gap up front now. Like I said, it's Kinley, 2.3 seconds to Jacob. Salau now in P3. He is some 6 seconds behind. So, it's really now going to be between the last 10 laps, the battle between first and second. And I think Kinley, he's got the pace right now to potentially win this race. I don't know, unless Jacob can really pull something out in the last 10 laps, that Jacob can close that gap.
I mean, they are trading sector times right now. You're seeing the gap come down momentarily to 0.3. It's now gone up to 0.5. They are trading sectors, corner times, and back and forth. So I think right now Kinney has got this somewhat in hand, but obviously one mistake and Jacob's going to be all over him. Like that's the margin right now. One mistake between them, and it could be completely done for either of them.
Well, yeah, even like you said, one mistake, one time penalty can be catastrophic, especially around that corner right there. Very easy to one ride and invalidate and get a penalty, and then of course you just got to make sure you don't hit those slightly raised grey tarmac sections, which want to really spin your car straight around. I used to remember, of course, Spa used to have a horrible one. Of course, it doesn't anymore, luckily, because they ran the circuit from a curb that your tarts wasn't there in real life, and normally you're straight to the scene of a almighty accident and poo on. But like I said, they've changed that now. I think it's not laser scanned, radar scanned, I believe.
Side by side coming up through turn 4 right now. Cam K in a row, and they keep it clean between the pair of them. Through turn 4 now, through turn 5 around the outside goes Cam K, and what a move from the Red Bull right there. That is very brave from the pair of them to go side by side through turns 4 and turn 5.
Yeah, you've got to have so much respect then between the two drivers, and that really just shows a mark of respect. If you can go side absolutely perfectly, you have no contact, no mistakes, well, that's class, and that is a lot of respect to both of the drivers, and it's 10 out of 10 sportsmanship as well. I'm just trying to see, and the gap is now 2.2 seconds, so Jacobs made a mistake somewhere a little bit, because that gap is opened up a slight bit more. In fact, slightly come down to Salau for a brief second, but Salau's now nearly 7 seconds, so just looking through to see where's the battles going on. Zontal.
Yeah, Jonas just overtaken Zontal with DRS down the start-finish straight. Obviously, Kermit just got through the lap previous. And it's going to be interesting to see what Kermit's going to do on those medians, because he should be able to get within that time penalty of Lukey, but can Jonas get within that time penalty?
Yeah, that's always going to be the thing. Can you get in the gap? As I was just getting a notification there for something in the background, but back to racing we go. Gaps, really, it's all kind of starting to spread out a little bit. I think the closest, it's Papa Squance and Nicholas. Nicholas on 6-lap old hard tyres. Papa Squance on 2-lap old hard tyres. So you would presume Papa Squance has got the pace to overtake, but catching is one thing, said a famous man called Murray. Very much another. And, well, I mean, passing around here, in the best of times, is difficult. It's not as hard as likes of Monaco or other circuits that are very, very... not an easier circuit to make them. You've got to have commitment. You've got to have, I think it's around about a 4/10th pace differential. Or get very lucky with the DRS down turn 1. Who's that?
Oh,
it's Jacob! Jacob's off! And that's at turn 4. A corner where I mentioned. And yes, allows through, and that's a corner which is so critical not to make a mistake. He's going to have gone on the inside curve, and it's going to spat and ride, because where his car is pointed, he'll be very lucky that the car didn't end up going a little bit further into the inside wall there, isn't it?
I'm not going to lie, another thing now Jacob's got to be concerned about is those rear tyres, because now they're going to be a little bit cooked, and obviously when your rear tyres are overheating, it's going to be very tricky to get the traction down, so we're going to have to keep an eye on Jacob's control on his throttle coming for the next couple of crucial traction zones.
Yeah, you can just see, look at the rear end, he's soaring away at the wheel. Right now, he needs to just get his head down, not like that. Get your head down, take a little bit of a breather, and then try and bring those tyres under any temperature you can, because there's still an opportunity here. You know you've got the pace on second. That's very apparent, because you were pulling, it was about 7-8 seconds before that mistake. And then you make a little mistake, and it's just like, remember, the likes of Kimi Antonelli made a mistake, of course, in China a few weeks ago. In fact, I've been watching the 2000 F1 series And Michael Schumacher in Indianapolis a couple laps before the end spun the car. So these drivers make mistakes, but even the big mistakes, in both cases they still won the race. But there's still time to go. You never know, Jacob could still win this race. It would be an almighty upset because Kinley now's got a 10-second gap. And if I'm Kinley right now, I don't mind losing a second and a half a lap. Just take the heat off. Make sure you control the tyres, control the corners, but don't do it too much because otherwise you will make a mistake. Meanwhile, talking mistakes, Rich is off.
No, I think that's Nicholas. Yeah, Rich about to get lapped by Kinney in just a moment's time, which will be heartbreaker for Rich if he does get lapped, because of course that does mean that if a safety car does get deployed, he will not be able to unlap himself unless he stays out as the leaders come in. But I just don't see the leaders coming in at this stage. But Larkin on Alexa. This is for P5 on track, and here comes Larkin now with DRS, ERS, job done. And could Larkin potentially be a late charge for a podium here?
There's a possibility. I mean, what's the gap? 2.7 time penalty. That's for certain, we know. And we're presuming Jacobs are normally a spin's about 5-10% wear extra, and especially where he was, it was a big spin because he was very far off the road. So, and he's not really pulling that gap back up to just allow. In fact, it is closing actually. So never mind. It's down to 1.6, 1.7 seconds. So he just needs to keep his head down, keep the tyres under temperature, because when they overheat, and I'm sure you know as well, it's like when these tyres are, they're incredibly hard to get back under control. Oh, he's off the road. He's kept it.
And yeah, that's the other thing as well. Like, one mistake leads to another mistake, and that is something that will compile if you let it take a hold of you. One mistake does always lead to a second, does always lead to a third. So Jacob now needs to get his mind reset, get those tyres under control, and do what he can to get to the line. Because right now he's in the net P3, he's on for the podium. He's got his teammate right behind him, his rear gunner.
Teammate's passing. So it's not rear gunning anymore. Now, I wonder here, is this a bit of strategic play here? Is Jacob gonna, he's got a big championship lead, is he gonna potentially just try and push Larkin down a bit? Yellow flags, who's that?
That's Alexa.
That's Alexa. That's a big off. That car is destroyed on my end. I think it might be a lot less than it is.
That's a retirement on track right there. That is not good. And that could potentially cause a late safety car. Hopefully not. But we'll keep an eye on it. Should be back to green flag conditions, which will be good.
That's, I don't know what the penalty normally is. I think it's penalty points you get for doing that. And that's the first time I've seen a driver retire on circuit. It was a fair whack on the car, but you really bring that into the pit lane if you can. At least. Alfredo, third. Jacob, fourth. 7/10 the gap. 2.2 seconds behind is Larkin. So, are these two gonna fight each other, or are they gonna just hold station? The racing person, well, the strategic person here would say hold position. However, these are racing drivers, and as we well know, racing drivers don't tend to play the strategic game normally. However, I think on this case, they may just be. However, how much of that is Jacob kind of doesn't have anything to fight because his eyes are overheating?
Well, here's the thing. Obviously, if Jacob is still struggling with his tyres at the moment, which it does seem like he is, the back end stepping out marginally, and of course Larkin closing in. My FPS has absolutely plummeted right there, so I do apologise to the people watching on stream right now, as Jacob and Alfredo trading positions momentarily. But what I was going to say, obviously, it would be more beneficial for Alfredo if Jacob was leading and just giving Alfredo DRS to pull that gap to Larkin. Because Larkin, no DRS to his name, but Jacob really struggling. Yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah, I think his tyres are completely overheating. Not Alfredo. In fact, if anything right now, if I'm Jacob, if we get towards the last lap or two, I'm going to start back Larkin up and then allow your teammate to get a podium position. Now, I'm not saying they will do that because I don't know if they will, but if it's something that in my mind I would consider right now for the team, for the constructors' standings. I'm not sure what your opinion on that.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, Larkin needs to make sure he doesn't get involved in these team games in front. But yeah, I think if I'm Jacob right now, I do want to try and make sure that we got the best position possible for the Alpines at the end of this race. But Larkin, he's still closing in, and it just looks inevitable that he's going to get within DRS. But it's going to be too late in the race for anything to happen.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's like, it's more the fact that, of course, Alfredo. So, if Jacob wants to secure that podium for his teammate, he will drop behind a little bit. Ooh, wriggly out of there, and that's not going to help. These tyres are gone right now, and that spin, he's saved. Look how much ERS he saved, though. He's been on none ERS right now, and he wants to be careful. This is the corner where he made that mistake a few laps ago. We are on lap 34 in around about 5 seconds time to begin then the last lap but one. And I will say it's a rather cruising drive for Kinley right now. I was expecting maybe you would back off a tiny bit and just bring it home, but I guess he's pushing as hard as he can. He's
in a good rhythm right now, is Kinney. He's in that rhythm, and he is just absolutely loving it at the moment. But of course, the battles that we're keeping an eye on right now, we got Lukey and Jonas here for P7 on track, and with Kermit 2 seconds up the road, his tyres could begin to fall away here as Jonas down the inside goes deep, and Lukey there, lovely little switchback, job done.
Yeah, that was a very late attempt on the brakes. That was nearly 50 meters from looking at it. He was just sailing off. Axel Rose coming in the pit. That's going to be a set of soft tires. So he's gone for the fast lap. So is Nicholas. So, of course, the outside the top shot, fastest lap they can secure. I'm going to see who can do it. Like I said, like Kermit, those tyres are going off. I think he might be okay, though. I honestly think he'll be okay. The gap it's about 2 seconds, and I don't see how you're going to lose 2 seconds unless he spins, which is, knowing my luck, is very possible. We are now beginning the final lap of the race here in Hungary. The gap up front, nearly 11.5 seconds from Salau. Salau looks like he's going to get P2. And now the question is who is going to get P3? Because so far it's Alfredo with the time penalty. Here comes Jacob. He's going to have a move on his teammate then, down towards turn 1. So there's no team play here in the battle then between the two Alpines. Now, are we going to see a little bit of a move here? Alfredo, is he going to think about a move back on his team? Or is he just going to settle for what will be P5 nonetheless? Because he's going to finish in the P5. Or does he just want some bragging points between the two teammates? Well, the next opportunity would have been here. So unless he makes a mistake from Jacob, I think that's P3.
Jonas there trying all the way around the outside at turn 2 and unable to get the move done as Lukey there really getting the elbows out, defending for his life out on track, and Jonas really struggling to find his way through right now. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the Alpines there trading positions. It looks like Jacob has got his tyre attempts back under control. There's a yellow flag, and that is one of the Saubers getting out of the way of, I believe that's Nicholas at the back.
Meanwhile, Kinley up to the line will win here, and he's just having a little bit of fun there. The cross line he goes, then will win. Domination in Hungary. Salau then through the last corner will take a fine P2 from what was a little bit of trouble in the middle. Jacob will cross the line in P3. Larkin has overtaken Alfredo. Alfredo, what's happened to him? Is he spun? He's run out of fuel.
Out of fuel.
I think
and I can allow Kermit. Kermit 3 tenths off.
Jonas will finish 7th, Lukey 8th, Zontal then will finish P9, almost comes Zonta there. Well, he won't finish there because here comes Mai there. Cam will finish 11th, so a fine recovery from the back from him. Nick will cross the line, he's going to be a little bit frustrated. Had contact around this exact corner. Certainly didn't. Up to the line, he'll come then. P12, final point then for him, and then of course just, hello. They're having a little bit of spin across the line, are they there? They're having a little confrontation on the start-finish line. Here comes Ackler. He's going to see his 2 cars ahead of him. Just going, what has happened here? Why is this fast lap 16.8? Well, there's one way of finishing the race there from Nick. That was a very fine race indeed.
Yeah, and of course, Nick making his comeback here tonight in P2, and honestly, he'll be happy that he's got in the points, but he'll know that there was more on the table. It's just that incident absolutely done him over. But 18 lap on the hards, very well recovered from Nick there. But what a race. What a dominating victory that was from Kinney. I mean, at the start, it was Kinney versus Jacob in our first stint, but the undercut from Kinney just gave him the gap, and he just controlled the race all the way to the checkered flag. And of course, Jacob, that one mistake cost him P2, but he still keeps his record of continuously finishing on the podium.
Well, consistency is key, and how many people have I remember who finished on the podium 100% in F1? Well, Michael Schumacher did it in 2002, 100% podium record. I'm about to say Verstappen, but he in fact did not get 100% record in his domination in the Red Bull. So only a few people in real life have done it. So that's impressive. But there is your grid then. So Kinley by 10.5 seconds in the end from Salau. Jacob Larkin, Alfredo Kermit, Zontal Kermit, Nick Papa, Axel Waitley, Rich, Nicholas, Alexi, Lawrence, and Sicko at the back of the thing. That went very quickly indeed, that one, but that was a very, very enjoyable jump in race. Well, commentate.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had the pure black screen in there, so I wasn't able to go through the final classifications. But as you mentioned, Kinney, 10-second lead in the end, and of course, what we have to do now is pick our driver of the day and the questions that we got to ask our driver of the day. So, considering that you are the guest here tonight, I am going to come to you first to pick your driver of the day. And what question would you like to ask him?
Oh, you've put me on the spot. I'm going to have to think then. I'm going to have to have a good little think. You know what? I'm going to give it to Salau. From 10th on the grid, my question for him is, it was a very difficult race, of course, starting down in P10, finishing in P2. A strategy that's definitely seemed to have worked for you. How did you find it out there battling through the field?
Absolutely fantastic vote right there for Salau. And I am torn between two drivers right now. I am torn between two drivers right now, but I'm going to have to give it to our race winner in Kinney. And my question to Kinney will be, a fantastic race from yourself. It seemed like you had it all in control in terms of your strategy. Is this now the start of the comeback for you? Are you thinking now for the rest of the season that this is the result that you needed after a couple of races where it has been oh so near for you? Is now the reset point for you for this championship? So that will be my question to Kinney. And of course, next week we do go racing again, and it is going to be around Suzuka, of course the only figure of 8 circuit on the F1 calendar, and my personal favorite track. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the guys are going to have in store for us in a week's time in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, Japan is always one of the greatest circuits. I mean, it's not my favorite Japanese circuit. I prefer personally racing, but for hot lapping, definitely Suzuka is definitely up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, guys, we got P1 getting underway in just a moment's time. Of course, Jess and Jamie are going to be taking you through the action in that one. But before we wrap things up here tonight, a quick shout out to our sponsors and partners here at OneHub. Of course, to Delta.app, to Next Level Racing, Sim Racing Setups, Pure Sim Gear, Vespa Twin, and of course Sim Grid, and our charity, the Mental Health Foundation. But guys, that is going to bring an end to the action here in P2. Massive congratulations to Kinney on the victory, and of course to Salo and Jacob who joined him on the podium. We will be back next week for the Japanese Grand Prix, but don't go anywhere, because in a few moments time P1 will be getting underway, and let's see what the guys at the top end, at the pinnacle here in OneHub, are going to do around Hungary. But until then guys, here's goodbye from the pair of us.